My friends, there is an invisible law that governs the lives of men and women who rise above the ordinary. It is this: those who own the early hours own the day, and those who own the day own their destiny. At 4 a.m., while the streets are silent, while the world lies hidden under the blanket of sleep, there exists a rare and sacred moment. It is a moment untouched by distraction, unpolluted by noise, unbothered by the demands of others. It is in these quiet hours that the seeds of greatness are planted. For the man who wakes early does not merely gain more time. He gains the clearest mind, the sharpest focus, and the purest vision. Think of it. In the day, you are bombarded with voices, requests, interruptions, responsibilities, and chaos. But at 4 a.m., none of that exists. It is you and only you. And in that silence, you meet the most powerful force you will ever know: your own mind. The mind is like a garden, and when it is cultivated in silence, it produces ideas of extraordinary power. When it is neglected, it produces nothing but weeds. The greatest plans, the boldest visions, the noblest dreams are not born in noise. They are born in silence. And silence is only found when the world sleeps. If you wait until the noise of the day begins, your mind becomes a battlefield of distractions, a prisoner of the urgent, rather than a creator of the important. But in the hours before dawn, you have freedom. You are not reacting to the world, you are shaping it. Do you know why most people fail to achieve greatness? It is not because they lack intelligence, not because they lack opportunity, but because they never give themselves the time to think. They live in constant reaction, rushing from one task to the next, never pausing long enough to ask, what is the vision for my life? What must I create? What must I become? The early hour is the answer to this problem. For at 4 a.m., you are not distracted by the world. You are confronted with yourself. In that sacred hour, when your mind is rested, when your spirit is unburdened, when your energy is fresh, you can see more clearly than at any other time. You can design the blueprint of your future. You can ask yourself the questions that others are too distracted to ask. What do I truly want? What is my purpose? Where must I go? And what steps must I take today to move toward that destiny? These questions, asked in silence, awaken the giant within you. History has shown us men and women who changed the world were not creatures of accident. They were creatures of vision, and vision does not fall from the sky. It must be cultivated, strengthened, and sharpened in solitude. The man who rises early is a visionary, and the visionary is always the leader. Let this truth sink deep into your mind. The hours before dawn are not hours of sleep. They are hours of power. The man who claims them builds a future others will only dream about. At 4 a.m., you are not competing with the masses. You are alone with your destiny, crafting a life that will set you apart from the ordinary. So when you wake at 4 a.m., do not waste it. Do not scroll, do not wander, do not drift. Use it to write your plans, to strengthen your thoughts, to create your vision. For once the day begins, the world will try to own your time. If you do not already own it, you will surrender it to mediocrity. The early morning is not just a time, it is a weapon. Use it, and you will conquer. Ignore it, and you will be conquered. Discipline, my friends, is the bridge between who you are and who you wish to become. It is the invisible force that separates the weak from the strong, the dreamer from the doer, the ordinary from the extraordinary. And discipline is not found in the grand gestures of life. It is forged in the small, repeated actions that no one sees. The greatest of these actions is the decision to rise before dawn. When the alarm rings at 4 a.m., you are confronted with the purest test of will. Your body whispers, stay in bed, stay in comfort, stay in warmth. But your spirit calls, rise, conquer, lead. In that single moment, you are face to face with yourself, and the choice you make is not just about sleep. It is about the type of person you are becoming. If you choose comfort, you strengthen weakness. If you choose discipline, you strengthen greatness. Discipline is not about punishment. It is about mastery. It is the art of commanding yourself rather than being commanded by circumstances. The man without discipline is a slave, enslaved to moods, to habits, to comfort, to laziness. The man of discipline is free, free to act, free to build, free to become whatever he chooses. And this freedom is not won in the daylight. It is won in the dark hours before the sun appears. Let me tell you a truth that many ignore. If you cannot command yourself to rise from bed when the world sleeps, how can you expect to command yourself to rise in the battles of life? If you cannot win against the warmth of a blanket, how can you win against fear, against doubt, against adversity? Every time you wake at 4 a.m., you are declaring to your mind, I am stronger than my excuses. I am stronger than my comfort. I am stronger than my weakness. Understand this success is never an accident. It is the result of daily discipline, repeated so often that it becomes part of your very nature. The early rising hour is not about the clock. It is about character. It is about proving to yourself every morning that you are not controlled by feelings, but by vision, that you are not driven by ease, but by purpose. When you discipline yourself to rise early, you carry that same power into every corner of your day. If you can master the morning, you can master the meeting. If you can master the morning, you can master the project. If you can master the morning, you can master your destiny. For discipline in one area breeds discipline in all. Think of the soldier who trains in silence before the battle begins. His body aches, but he endures. His mind protests, but he pushes forward. Why? Because he knows that his strength tomorrow depends on his discipline today. In the same way, when you rise at 4 a.m., you are preparing yourself for the unseen battles of the day. You are sharpening your mind, strengthening your will, and forging a spirit that refuses to break. The undisciplined man wakes when he must. The disciplined man wakes when he chooses. The undisciplined man says, I'll do it tomorrow. The disciplined man says, I'll do it now. And over time, these two lives drift apart like two rivers, one flowing toward mediocrity, the other flowing toward greatness. And remember this, no man is born disciplined. Discipline is not a gift, it is a decision. It is not inherited, it is forged. It is built in silence, in repetition, in those unseen victories that no applause greets, but that shape the very character of your soul. Waking at 4 a.m. is one of those victories. Each time you do it, you are not just waking. You are forging yourself into someone unshakable, unstoppable, unconquerable. So when the alarm sounds and your body pleads for comfort, smile and rise. For in that simple act, you are not losing sleep. You are gaining power. You are proving to yourself that you are the master, not the servant. And the man who is master of himself can become the master of anything he chooses. The world, my friends, does not reward the hesitant. It rewards the prepared. And who is more prepared than the man who rises while others slumber? The early riser steps into the battlefield of life with his sword already sharpened, his mind already steady, and his plans already written. The late riser wakes to a world already in motion, already demanding, already consuming. But the early riser wakes to silence, to clarity, to opportunity. He takes possession of the day before the day can take possession of him. Understand this eternal truth. While others are still trapped in dreams, the early riser is already building them. While others are negotiating with their comfort, he is negotiating with destiny. While others are bound by excuses, he is moving forward with purpose. This is why the world always seems to bend in favor of those who wake early. It is because they have claimed their advantage before the race even begins. Look to nature and you will see the same principle. The sun does not wait for man to rise. The seasons do not delay for those who oversleep. Life itself rewards movement, initiative, and momentum. The early riser aligns with this natural law. He does not resist the rhythm of life, he flows with it. And because he flows with it, opportunities come to him as naturally as the river finds the sea. You have seen it with your own eyes. The men and women who lead industries, who rise to the top of their fields, who influence nations and carve their names into history, are not those who linger in bed waiting for comfort. They are those who rise with determination while the rest of the world drifts in unconsciousness. They are those who have already won half the battle of life before the masses even begin to stir. Consider the advantage of time. If you wake at 4 a.m., you have already seized hours that most people surrender. Over a year, those hours add up to weeks of preparation, learning, building, creating, weeks of additional progress invisible to the average man. Multiply this over a decade, and the difference between the early riser and the late riser is not small. It is monumental. One lives an ordinary life, the other lives an extraordinary one. The world belongs to the man who prepares, and preparation is the secret weapon of the early riser. When the late sleeper rushes into the day in confusion, reacting to every demand in crisis, the early riser enters with calmness, for he has already ordered his thoughts, planned his steps, and fortified his spirit. He is not a victim of the day, he is the master of it. Ask yourself, would you rather chase the day or have the day chase you? The early riser sets the pace, sets the tone, sets the standard. The rest merely follow. The world always bends to the one who dares to step ahead. History leaves us undeniable evidence. No empire was built by hesitation. No invention was born from idleness. No greatness was carved from a bed of laziness. It was always the men and women who began earlier, who pushed sooner, who acted faster, who created stronger, that took possession of opportunities others never even saw. The early riser does not merely get up before the world. He gets ahead of it. And here lies the secret. The early hours are a hidden treasure, available to anyone, but claimed only by the few who have the courage to rise. That treasure contains peace, clarity, and preparation. It contains the time to learn, to plan, to create, to grow. The masses pass it by in sleep, and therefore they never know its value. But the early riser claims it daily, and over time he becomes wealthy in wisdom, power, and success. So, when you rise at 4 a.m., you are not just gaining hours. You are gaining territory. You are stepping ahead in the race of life, and once you are ahead, the world cannot easily catch you. Truly, the world belongs to the early riser, because he has already possessed it before the others wake to see it. The way a man begins his day, my friends, is the way he writes the story of that day. The first hours are not small. They are the foundation upon which the entire structure of your life rests. A weak beginning produces a weak day. A strong beginning produces a strong day. And repeated daily, these beginnings shape not just days, but destinies. At 4 a.m., when the world is still asleep, you hold in your hands the key to power. You have a blank canvas, untouched, unspoiled, free from distraction. How you use this canvas determines the colors of the hours that follow. Rise late, and you begin with chaos, rushing, stumbling unprepared, chasing after time instead of directing it. Rise early, and you begin with order, strength, and clarity. You become the master of the hours ahead. Think about the man who starts his morning late. He wakes with noise, with hurry, with tension. He scrambles for tasks, eats in haste, and rushes into his day already behind. His thoughts are scattered, his emotions unsettled, and his body unprepared. By noon, he is exhausted, not because the day is heavy, but because he carried the burden of a poor beginning. Now think about the man who wakes at 4 a.m. He begins with stillness. He feeds his mind with vision, his spirit with purpose, and his body with energy. He walks into the day prepared, not hurried. His mind is calm, his emotions steady, and his actions deliberate. By noon, he has already accomplished what others are only beginning. By night, he has multiplied his victories. Why? Because the power of his day was born in the power of his morning. This is the law. The first hours decide the rest. The farmer who tends his fields in the early morning reaps a greater harvest. The athlete who trains before dawn enters competition already stronger. The leader who thinks plans and prepares before the noise of the world begins enters every challenge already victorious. The same is true for you. If you conquer the morning, you conquer the day. If you conquer the day, you conquer the year. And if you conquer enough years, you conquer your destiny. The morning is your furnace. It is where you ignite the fire of discipline, the spark of focus, the flame of determination. Without it, the day remains cold, scattered, and weak. With it, the day burns with purpose. This is why the early riser carries an energy others cannot explain. People say, how does he do so much? How does he remain so steady? The secret is not in luck, not in talent, not in chance. It is in his mornings. At 4 a.m., your mind is rested, your spirit is alert, your energy is pure. If you invest this time in strengthening yourself, the effect multiplies throughout the hours to come. The man who meditates at dawn carries peace into his day. The man who plans at dawn carries clarity into his day. The man who works on his craft at dawn carries confidence into his day. And all these things combined make him unstoppable, while others struggle in confusion. Remember, this mornings are not neutral, they are decisive. They either empower you or enslave you. They either give you command over the day or make you a servant to it. That is why the wisest of men guard their mornings as their greatest treasure. They know that a wasted morning is not just wasted time. It is a wasted opportunity to set the rhythm of success. So I urge you, wake at 4 a.m. and use that sacred hour to build yourself. Build your body through exercise, build your mind through study, build your spirit through reflection, and build your future through planning. Do this daily, and watch how the world bends to your will. For the man who builds power in the morning walks into the day like a king, unshaken, unbroken, unstoppable. In the end, greatness is not built in sudden explosions. It is built in daily disciplines. And the greatest of these disciplines is to master the morning. Do this, and you will not merely live days, you will live destiny.